Right, so it's 6 o'clock, and with that, we will start the Old Colony Planning Council monthly council meeting. And I will start by reading the
Would you like me to read that for you?
I'm okay with this part.
You sound as bad as you did the last time.
Oh, did I have this last time too?
Yes.
Oh God, I am getting sick a lot. To be read by the chair at the start of each meeting. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. In the notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you all. And with that, I will turn it over to Mary to do the roll call.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Abington.
Delegate present.
Alternate present.
Thank you. Avon.
Alternate present.
Bridgewater.
Present.
Alternate present.
Thank you. I did not see Brockton.
Delegate present.
Thank you, Yolando. And I do know that Preston is unable to make it today. Thank you. Duxbury.
I think she has a conflict.
East Bridgewater.
Delegate present.
Thank you, Peter. Easton. Do not. Halifax. Hanover.
Delegate present.
Thank you, Rhonda. Hanson.
Delegate present.
Kingston.
Delegate present.
Pembroke.
Delegate present.
Alternate present.
Thank you. Plymouth, I believe Lee has a conflict. Stoughton. West Bridgewater. Whitman.
Delegate present.
Alternate present.
And delegate at large.
Present.
Okay. This week we lost a long serving member of the Old Colony Planning Council. Frank Staffier passed away this week, and we would like to take a moment of silence. And I would also give an opportunity for Mary and John Costa to say something if they would like to after a moment of silence. Mary, would you like to say a couple words?
I would. Today was the day that Frank was going to be brought in by John for the meeting. He loved OCPC. I felt very much as if he was a family member, and again, knowing that his health had been some challenges in the last few months, but Frank, as Frank will be, he was determined to be loyal to OCPC, as well as to the staff, the council members, but most importantly, he was loyal to his town of Avon. We will have a separate tribute to Frank with a little bit more time, and once we have the details. But for today, on behalf of the staff, we will miss Frank, but we will continue on in the way that he would want us to, be vigilant, be dedicated, be frugal, be efficient, and make sure that we take care of each other. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to John Costa.
Thank you, Mary. I actually hadn't planned on saying anything today. I kind of said it all to Frank the other day before he passed. It's a sad day for OCPC, but also for the town of Avon. Frank served valiantly and it seemed forever in some capacity in our town. He always brought a smile to us, to everything he did. He was courageous in what he did, and he was not afraid to defend anything he felt strongly about. We became personal friends through actually a town event some many years ago. That to the point we became traveling companions with he and his wife, and we worked together on a lot of projects here in town over the years in my different capacities. And he's the one that was influential in finally getting me to serve as the alternate director here, alternate age representative to OCPC. And I thank him for doing that because I learned a lot from all of you. I see how hard you guys work, and I know you couldn't do it without a complete team effort. So I congratulate all of you on that. Frank will be very sadly missed by me personally, and my wife as well, because we've done a lot together. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you,
And
John and
Becky-
Mary.
And Becky, just before we move on, I do also just want to recognize, most people don't know this, but Sean Noel from our office, he is Frank's son-in-law. He's married to Jen, Frank's daughter, and we are extending our sympathies to him and all of the staff of your family.
And we will have more to honor Frank down the road. Because it happened this week, I wanted to give Mary and John a chance to sort of speak tonight, and we will be saying more, because everyone who's been on the council for a while knows that Frank was the one who always stepped up whenever we needed anything. And we do appreciate that, and we will all miss having him in our council, and I know that John and Mary will miss him in a special way, as will many of the other members of the council, and Sean Noel and their family. Yeah, it's hard to move right on, but we will move to business, and we'll get back to honoring Frank at a later date. The consent agenda is the next item we have up on business. And that right now we have listed on the consent agenda, unless someone wants to pull something off, the March 2025 meeting minutes, the MEPA environmental notices, the fiscal 2025 to 2029 Transportation Improvement Program Amendment number 4, and then the fiscal 2026 to 2030 Transportation Improvement Plan, the Old Colony Safe Streets for All Action Plan, the Old Colony Bike Month Proclamation, and the Old Americans Month Proclamation. I'm open for a motion to take those as a consent agenda altogether, or if there are any questions, we can pull something aside.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Sandy.
I'll second that, Becky.
Thanks, Stephen. Mary, if anybody speak up if you have any questions about these items. Otherwise, I'll ask Mary to do a roll call.
Thank you. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
I did not see Duxbury, East Bridgewater,
Accept.
I did not see Easton, I do not see Halifax, Hanover,
Accept.
Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Except,
Whitman,
Accept.
and at large.
Accept.
Plymouth
accepts too.
Oh, thank you, Lee. I'm sorry, I did not see you come in. Thank you.
Christine accepts.
oh, and Jean Marie came in from Easton.
Oh, and Jean
Right.
Marie. Thank you. Sorry about that, Jean Marie and Lee.
Thank you. Next, we have our Finance Audit Committee meeting report from Brenda Robinson, starting with the March 2025 financials.
Okay, at the end of March, we had a positive financial standing with a 1.46% budget surplus. Our available surplus funds remaining at that time were $179,066. Statement of expenditures report shows the total expenses for the month at $320,929.33. Cash position report shows income for the month at $441,986.56. Disbursements for the month were $610,288.96. Total cash available at month's end was $1,870,176.99. The OPEB account had a loss of $33,082.82, bringing the ending balance in the OPEB account to $1,248,837.33. Budget resources report, cash receipts being $441,986.56 brings the total year-to-date receipts to $5,423,706.56. AAA report, outstanding balance for AAA pass-through programs was $539,376.04. Outstanding balance for AAA and ombudsman programs, AAA admin and ombudsman programs was $108,130.95. This brings the total outstanding balance for all AAA programs at the end of March to $647,406.99. Volunteer transportation account had a beginning balance of $162,273.14. Donations received were a total of $301.40, bringing the ending balance in the fund to $162,574.54. ROM's statement and activity balance at the beginning of the month was $161,376.81. Receipts were $5,850, bringing the total receipts to $68,650. Expenses were $7,270.76, bringing the total expenses to $75,043.10. The ending statement balance was $150,793.22. Budget reports, the spent to date percentage rate at the end of the month was 73.54%. The ideal percentage in the ninth month of the fiscal year would be 75%. So at month's end, we had a 1.46% surplus. Available surplus funds remaining were a total of $179,066. Page 1, expenditures at the end of the month were a total of $2,314,910. Budgeted funds remaining at the end of the month were a total of $832,714. Page 2, projected grant income for the fiscal year remains at $3,147,624. Page 3, projected pass-through income for this fiscal year remains at $1,996,327. Lastly, on the regular financials is the list of the combined AP and cash transfers for the month. That's the end of the regular financial report.
Thank you, Brenda. Are there any questions about the report, or do we have a motion to approve the report?
Yeah, Dan Salvucci, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Can we go back to the OPEB numbers? I'm
Yeah.
wondering, why did we have a loss?
Oh, because of the state of the country, because of the
Yeah.
things that are going on.
Is
the
that the
stock market.
OPEB that is that part of Plymouth County, or we did something different?
Part of Plymouth County.
Yes,
And
it's in Plymouth County now.
But I think that loss is less than the loss in the market for the month of March.
Well, that's good. Yeah,
That's correct.
that I'm not sure.
Because
Yeah,
I thought OPEB, I didn't expect it to lose money.
It's
So-
just one of those things, Dan, it's just the type of what's going on right now throughout the country, but it will come back, I'm sure.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But Dan, I think that those are things that, for you to pick that up, that's exactly why we do this. So those kind of numbers, and it will always be highlighted by Brenda when she gives her report.
Because I know in our town, I mean, we have to appropriate money to put into OPEB.
Yep.
And, and hopefully it'll be all paid off in 3 to 5 years, maybe.
Yeah, we contribute as well. I believe it's 60, am I right?
60,000 a year we contribute, yes.
Yeah.
Just to get it paid off, yeah. Which is something we should have been doing 20 years ago, but whatever.
Well, OCPC is pretty far along in terms of meeting our targets for OPEB,
Yeah, a lot of
but-
towns weren't.
but
A lot of towns weren't.
we do have market fluctuation
Yeah.
Because if you don't invest in the stock market, you don't keep up with inflation. And if you
Right.
do invest in the stock market, you have a certain amount of risk.
Yep. I'm invested. I have my own account. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks. Any other questions? Okay,
Becky,
do I?
I'll
go
make a
ahead.
motion. This information was all vetted last night by the Finance Audit Committee, and the committee voted unanimously to approve this to bring to the full council for their vote tonight.
So you
I'll
make a motion
second
to
that.
accept. Thank you, Sandy. Roll call.
Roll call. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton. Yolando.
Yep,
There we-
sorry.
That's okay. East Bridgewater,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Hanover,
Accept.
Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Accept.
Plymouth,
Accept.
Whitman,
Accept.
and at large.
Accept.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys. All right, Brenda, you're going to continue with
The FY26 budget.
the
And-
FY26 budget.
Financial-
actually,
fiscal
financial
reserves.
plans. Yeah.
Go.
First,
Fiscal reserves
we'll
first.
talk about the fiscal reserves. The total cash balances for all of the accounts listed here total up to $1,808,787. The total account balance is decreased by $542,225, leaving the total unallotted cash available on April 15th of $1,266,562. Those fund reductions are the amount of funds that have already been allotted for specific grants and programs only, such as the OPEB account, volunteer transportation account, and some advance payments for specific grants. The accounts receivable balance on April 15th are a total of $743,252. The ROM account balance on April 15th was $146,432. And after the March payment, the building loan had a principal balance of $274,614. And that is our finances at a glance report.
And that's just for information. No vote is required.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so now we'll move on to the budget.
Okay. Projected FY26 expenses are currently at $2,999,604. Notable increases and changes. Admin professional fees increased due to the biannual fee that comes this year, will come in FY26 from Odyssey Advisors, who is our actuary. This will be billed in FY26, and the auditor increases somewhat each year of the contract. So that's why that number increased quite a bit. Fringe benefits, though FY26 is a little bit less than FY25. FY25 is not completed yet, first of all, but there's been a substantial increase in fringe benefits since FY24. This is due to regular employer charges increasing on an annual basis, as well as some employees changed from single to family plans. The retiree employer charges increased due to Ray Guarino moving from regular employee to a retired employee. So it has increased substantially since FY24. Salaries increased due to any annual merit increases. The longevity payments in FY26, though lower than FY25, are still a total of $9,579. This increase in salaries increases all payroll-related charges, such as payroll taxes and payroll provider service charges. All other expenses have been budgeted conservatively to keep the expenses down as much as possible. The current projected FY26 income is at $2,876,834. That number is based on ongoing grants that have included FY26 in the contract or agreement. and new grants that have been awarded but will not be billed until FY26. Based on history, the income numbers should increase based on new grants that are in the works and will continue to be sought after. And that's the report for FY26 projected budget at this time.
Madam President, if I could just weigh in, you can hear Brenda's calm voice in the April budget. But again, I personally would just like to take the time to thank Brenda and Sean and Charlie. But really Brenda in terms of keeping an honest and transparent budget. But again, I also want to acknowledge Christine Joy. When we met and kind of as how we can best take it from the seat of a board member. She's the one who suggested the percentages, but which Brenda then took care of and present. So it's as conservative and as fiscally responsible as we have. And our hope, and Paul will be presenting later on about grants, but when you see what we're doing in that area, I think you'll be amazed. But I don't know if Christine would like to weigh in as a treasurer.
Sure, Mary. What I would say is that this information, the budget has been reviewed line by line, and the budget was reviewed by the Finance Audit Committee at our meeting last night, and we voted unanimously to support the budget and bring it to the full council for your action and hopefully approval.
Thank you, Christine. I know you've spent a lot of time helping on this budget. Are there any questions about it? If there are none, do we have a motion to adopt this budget?
I'll make that motion, Becky.
Thank you, Stephen. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Was that Val? Thank you,
Yeah.
Val.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Abington,
Accept.
Avon, Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
East Bridgewater,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Hanover,
That was accept, Mary, sorry.
no, that's okay. Thank you, Rhonda. Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Accept.
Plymouth,
Accept.
Whitman,
Accept.
and at large.
Accept.
Thank you
Great
very
job,
much.
Brenda. Thank you,
Great
everyone.
job. Mary, I'm going to turn it over to you for the staff report.
Yes, so Madam President, before I go into my own, I'm actually going to ask Peter Spagone. He had asked for some time at the council meeting to say a few words.
Yes, Mary, thank you very much. So I thought it was important, and I spoke to Mary a couple days ago that I wanted to speak at the meeting tonight, just to make everyone aware of just how huge OCPC and their staff has been, especially in the town of East Bridgewater. I was elected about 5 years ago, and one of the first things I did is I called Mary and made sure I became a delegate for OCPC, because I felt with any development and any of the projects the town of East Bridgewater had going on, we would need their help immensely. And the project we currently have working on Route 18, a sewer project that we entered into an agreement with with the city of Brockton, has been in a long process for sure. So we started the project many years ago. In 2021, we actually started the framework for the district that we're in right now. One of the first things that we did, not only setting up meetings with the council people from Brockton, but also the mayor, we brought Mary and her staff with us to help form that relationship. And one of the first things that we achieved out of that was a $4 million Mass Works grant that we're currently getting ready to start to tap into. But the real reason I asked to speak is one of the other things that Mary did for us is went to one of the events, I believe it was a Christmas party. And over a couple of cocktails, I'm not gonna lie to you, we spoke, she gave me an introduction to a gentleman over there named Don Sullivan, who works with OCPC. Me and Don had a conversation. He was working with the federal government on a bunch of projects. As I do all the time, started talking about our Route 18 project. East Bridgewater had never, to this point, ever been involved in any federal grants at all. But in our conversation with Don, he sparked an interest to him because of some of the buildings that we had coming up and some of the opportunities we had. He asked if he could start to look at trying to get us a grant federally as well. Now, this project is estimated about $11 million. The pipe for the SOAR will run from in East Bridgewater from Highland Street in the Route 18 corridor all the way down to Massasoit, where we'll connect to Brockton. We've negotiated about 75,000 gallons a day for SOAR in that area. And with that type of project and the type of money we're talking about, it would be absolutely huge if we could get something done. So Don went about his way. It's been a couple of years. You can imagine we just talked about some of the, let's call them difficulties that we're having with the federal government to date. So you can imagine the transition from when we started this opportunity to get a grant from the federal government and then got awarded a $3 million grant from them, which brought us to about $7 million, an $11 million project. In that time, I could sit here and talk for about an hour, or maybe longer, about all the struggles we've had. But Don, to his credit, continued to fight and advocate for the town of East Bridgewater to get the approvals. We had some, and I'm sure Don and Mary will both tell you, we had some very tough conversations about whether we should stick it out, and not jeopardize some of the other timetables we had. But Don assured us that, he would continue to get this done. And, the end result is we finally we did get the approval about a week and a half ago. Actually, the bids went out, bid list went out today. We should be approving the contractor by the end of May. And again, I can't thank Don enough. I can't thank Mary enough. I can't thank the staff enough. We are now on our way to a major project, which is going to change the landscape commercially, more so than anything else in that district, and change the scale of what East Bridgewater will be able to do in the future, especially with some of the financial hardships that we have, like every town does, going forward. So I wanted a minute just to give the story and let you know that what they're doing is working tenfold. I am completely as committed to Mary and her staff from when I originally got involved 5 years ago to this point. And I wanted everyone to know that. And again, thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Mary. And we'll continue to push forward with you guys and anything I can do to help with this council and this group. I'm certainly here, as well as John Haynes is here for the long haul.
Mary, I just want to briefly say thank you to Peter for that report, because I do think it's important that every council delegate and alternate understand how OCPC can be a real partner in some of the larger projects that our towns might be looking at. So thank you, Peter. I'll turn it back over to you, Mary.
Well, Peter and I are going to have a drink, because he was telling me he was only going to talk about Don Sullivan, but think it, I want to do like the drop the mic, right? This is where we work together as a team, and some of the things that Don did, and truly is like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. But for all of you on this, whether it's Abington or Hanover or Avon, we're working with Avon, it's you should see these guys when they come in, right? First thing in, all right, get your cup of coffee, and then it's like, all right, how do we get this done, and how do we pull Megan in to market this? And it's just amazing. And I really wanted to just say thank you to Peter. I know Don unmuted himself, so Don, you have only a couple seconds.
2 seconds. I appreciate that, Peter. We're gonna have a shovel in the ground in June, and off we go, right?
Pretty amazing.
100%, Don. 100%.
All right, I appreciate it. Hey, team effort, like we say, East Bridgewater, great team. I couldn't do it alone. We got a good engineering consulting firm, Weston and Sampson. So, we'll have a shovel in the ground, and the construction will start in June. And I think by December we should have pretty much all the line in, and the last bit of it will be the pump station. So that'll be sometime in early spring of 26, I would suspect. But
Don
yeah, off we go.
Don is saying projects, right, Don?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's all about.
That
You
is,
see the budget, right? That's what it's all about.
that's it. Thank you, Peter. Just on some of the other things I just want to touch upon, Lila and Jane are retiring. Lila Burgess and Jane Seelig are retiring, and there is an upcoming retirement event for them, and we'd love you to be part of that and celebrate. We'll be reaching out for those who have had some dealings and get some testimony for them. In the meantime, with Lila and Jane retiring, we've hired a new ombudsman program director replacing Lila. Her name is Donna Frett Hughes. She's originally from Brockton and now lives in Easton. And she's going to be starting May 12th. So
Wow.
with that, Lila's going to be moving to the part-time position, working about 10 hours. So I just want to, that really is some news, and we'll be telling you more and highlighting who Donna is, so you get to know her. And lastly, for at least for my part, is just the job description. There's a job description we'll be hiring the replacement, Elise Prince, who used to work for us. We weren't sure what we were doing for a while, but I will tell you over these last month and a half, with Megan holding on as a one person and staff pulling up their part, but we really need to replace that. And this is part of the budget that you approve. This is nothing new that will be added. We've already factored in for that. So those are just things I want to talk about. Please read the whole staff report. But we do have some staff presentations for you, and I'd love to really highlight the first. I want to be able to introduce Joanne Zigman, who's a senior planner in the Comprehensive Planning Department. I know she's going to be talking about the regional water plan. Public hearing was on Monday night. I forget now, Monday night. But Joanne's work on this, along with CDM, and she'll talk more about this, but I just want to acknowledge also the council members who've been serving as a steering committee, Val Massard, John Hayes, Noreen O'Toole, and Rhonda Nyman. But with that, Joanne, if you would like to talk about the regional plan.
Sure. Hi, folks. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the time you're giving me this evening to talk about the Old Colony Regional Water Plan. It's been a 2-year project. I think, as most of you know, it's nearly $1 million in funding from lots of partners, finally in the home stretch. It really has been a collaborative effort to secure a sustainable water future for our region. Across our 17 communities, the water-related challenges we all have are growing. Aging infrastructure, PFAS contamination, drought, and development pressures. These are a lot of the things that we've talked about in the steering group, and a lot of the things that the regional plan really is looking into depth on. Water is becoming more complex to manage. Municipalities traditionally have overseen their own systems. Today's issues are increasingly requiring regional coordination and shared solutions. So over the past year, we've been working with CDM Smith and with the Project Steering Committee to identify risks and develop mitigation strategies at both the local and the regional levels. Every municipality in our region is represented on the committee, along with watershed associations, chambers of commerce, legislators, regulators, and several other key stakeholders. It's been genuinely really productive and a really inclusive process. So the draft plan is now available for public comment. We have 3 public meetings. One was held on Monday in Plymouth in person. We have a virtual meeting happening tomorrow evening. And then next week on May 6th, we have our last in-person public meeting at Brockton Public Library. You can find the draft, if you're so inclined, a very fat appendix, and also meeting details on our website. If you go to oldcolonyplanning.org, it's /water plan. So we're inviting you all to review the draft, submit your questions and comments by May 18th. You can email those directly to me. We're also hoping that you'll help us spread the word locally. We do have some posts on our Facebook page that we've recently shared. You could just have your municipal Facebook page or Instagram, just share those officially as well. That would be a huge help. And just to give you a little kind of insight into what the plan says, this is very much in a nutshell, but the plan presents strategies that span the region. So we've looked at the development of new water supplies. We've looked at expanding water efficiency programs. We've looked at different policies and planning coordination efforts that could be implemented. We've also looked at ways that we could support ecosystem health and also, and in some cases, really importantly, strengthen public outreach and education around water issues. So when you see the plan, the three sort of overarching key messages that emerge are, first, infrastructure needs to catch up with growth. So some communities in our region are going to have to expand their well capacity in the near term. Some are already underway doing that. Others might need to pursue connections to MWRA to meet their long-term needs. And for some, the increased use of desalinated water may improve reliability and reduce reliance on costly PFAS treatment. So desalinated water has become much more of an interesting alternative and a much more viable alternative because of PFAS treatment costs. Desalinated water doesn't have PFAS. The second key message is that regional coordination is essential. So water operations must do more than just preserve the status quo. We actually need to restore and protect our ecosystem health, especially during sensitive periods for fish and aquatic life. And we also need consistent drought messaging and water use policies across towns to help improve clarity and ensure fairness to residents and businesses alike. If you have one community on drought restrictions with a water ban and the next community over isn't, they're still in a drought, why don't they have it when the other town does? Creates a very complex message for the public. The third message from the report is that public trust in water quality must be strengthened. We have some of the safest drinking water in the entire world. But the public's perception of it is doesn't reflect that. And that's largely because of the PFAS issues, iron and manganese in water as well, but a bunch of stuff. Our survey results as part of this project showed that many residents want better communication about PFAS contamination and more generally about water safety. We also heard from private well owners who don't often benefit from the protections that are built into public municipal water systems. They're under a whole totally different and unregulated pretty much structure. And those well owners really do need better outreach and resources. We also heard from the agricultural sector. They're very concerned about runoff, water quality, and also potential soil contamination. So these are all complex, shared challenges. They're going to require continued coordination beyond just this plan's release. So that's why Old Colony Planning Council is proposing the formation of a permanent water resources committee, like our Joint Transportation Committee or our Economic Development Committee, to advance the regional water plan in our region. The committee would provide guidance for implementation. It would identify funding sources, support intermunicipal collaboration. I need to avoid that word, and generally help municipalities work together for themselves as well as for the region more broadly. So your leadership and participation has been essential to getting us to this point. We're looking forward to your continued involvement as we transition from the planning to the action phase. And I just want to thank you again for your ongoing partnership, and please keep an eye out for future updates in our newsletter. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has some.
I do.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Oh, go ahead. Thank you so much, Joanne. That was, a great presentation, and I think you do a great job on it. When you're talking about the wells, are you talking about individual wells, or are you talking about the town-owned wells? And how do we help the people have individual wells to make sure that they're safe? I guess.
So and we can talk much more about this separately as well. I'll just give you a little brief insight. The report looked at both. It looked at the municipal wells as well as private individual homeowner wells. And with the latter, the private homeowner wells, we did a focus group, and we also have some survey respondents that were identified as having those. Right now, a lot of them aren't aware that PFAS might be in their well water. They don't know how to get their water tested. water testing, especially for PFAS and to do it right, is a little tricky and it's very expensive. So in the steering committee, we've talked about ways that we might be able to help well owners by, for example, bulk purchasing treatment and then having folks kind of join that cooperative or whatever you want to call it, if you will, to try and kind of reduce the costs individually by purchasing in bulk. The other thing that we've talked a lot about is working with, so the private wells are under the jurisdiction of the local boards of health. And in some of our communities, the boards of health are very strong. In other communities, they're not very active. And so a really important thing would be to work with the boards of health and help them educate the private well owners about what the situation really is and what they can do about it.
One more question, if you don't mind. Where can these people get their water tested?
There are, depending on which community that you live in, there's a really good web page that the town of Plymouth has for private well owners. It includes a couple of testing labs. I think one down sort of the New Bedford area and maybe one closer to the Cape. I can send you, or I'll put after this, I'll put in the chat and make sure that Megan has in our notes the links to those pages and the state page where you can find more of that info.
Great, thank you.
I know what I'll do is this. Megan's going to put Joanne's contact. I know her email's up and the slide is up, but she'll put it in the chat. As David Klein and others have said, I mean, I've seen Joanne over the last year and 9 months, 10 months, work with CDM. The integrity of the data is by far like amazing, right? It may not be what everybody's looking for, but it in the end, the information, this plan has to start. And when I was in Plymouth, when they were doing the public hearing, the people that were there were also saying it's been a while since this kind of information is out there. So we have to start, and the continued work will be important. So if there are any additional questions, please reach out to Joanne. Plan to attend a virtual or in person, but always reach out. And then I know at the beginning of the chat, Megan put in the comments that once you read it, if you have some comments to add, it will be really important that you do that. So thank you, Joanne.
Thanks, everyone.
So I'm just going to go right into introducing Paul Umano. Paul Umano is our Senior Grants Development Specialist. I first want to thank all of you council members for your support when it was time for adding this position. It was some great conversations, but it has been fruitful in so many different ways. And once Paul gives his presentation, I know there'll be a couple questions after. So without further ado, if I can have Paul.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it. And good evening, council members. Happy to be here. So I'm really excited to talk about some new grants management tools that I've begun to develop and we've begun to implement. And it's really useful in many different ways, but obviously most importantly is to take advantage of all of our federal, state, and now I'm proud to say private and foundational grants to take advantage of our 501c3 and finally utilize that as a resource and potentially tap into some real new funding opportunities there. So I'm really excited to get that going. And of course the ROM is registered in SAM, so it's ready to go to apply for federal opportunities as well. So with that, the purpose of why we're doing this, it's really threefold. It's really to enhance efficiency and effectiveness. We use these tools, and I'll talk about each of them individually, but really to track programs and grants on a monthly and weekly basis, making sure that everybody's up to speed on what's going on across departments. And it's really also the main purpose is to enhance effectiveness, making it in an easy to understand way in terms of the spreadsheets that are available. It's easy to access for everybody in SharePoint. All the staff can access it, as well as managers and of course, Mary as well. And again, we'll go over one of the tools that helps do that. Of course, the tool helps to stream oversight, right? And it ensures accountability on all levels, as you'll see in a second. So there is a sign-off process from top to bottom. So from the staff that puts it into the sheet, to the managers that approve that, and of course, the Mary that approves it ultimately at the end. So it's really a team effort here as we look at all the new programs that are coming in, and they come in a furious manner. And then finally, to really capitalize on new funding opportunities. So these tools give us a chance to really take a look at a lot of the discretionary grants that are available. What I mean by discretionary, just to give you a quick definition, the discretionary grants are the ones that are just that, right? The discretion of the particular state or federal agency that we are applying to. And it's very competitive, and that's what makes them discretionary. So really keeping up to date on those grants and when they release. Of course, with the idea of them being discretionary, you don't always get them, right? But having them here in these tools gives us the opportunity to know when they're coming out, whether it's on a federal fiscal year basis, state, or even a calendar year. And then finally, I think the most important reason for developing these is transparency, right? For all of you to see all of our grants that we've been working on, our projects, both internally, but also for external stakeholders that may want to see what we're doing. And, if there ever were public records requests, this will be something that, we can modify and make readily available for the public if they so choose. So the first tool, and I briefly mentioned it, is our cover sheet tracking. And the way this works is essentially you think about it as terms of the grant's life cycle, right? So your pre-award, your award, and your post-award phases. And I've broken it down into 5 different sections. So again, your pre-award, it's really, what are we applying for? How much are we applying for? What are the estimated start and end dates to the grant, right? That's all dependent on the notice funding opportunity, RFP, whatever it may be. And then as we move along and we know that we've received the grant, we continue to update the tracking sheet. What is the status? How much have we received? Are there specific matching dollars that are associated with that, right? Who's going to be managing the project? What is the staffing plan going to look like in budget, and so on and so on. And then as we continue to move through the life cycle, we talk about reporting and invoicing. And I know this is something that's critical for Brenda as she puts this information into QuickBooks. So having easy access to that, I think, is critical and important. And then, of course, grant closeout, right? The work's not done, after the money's spent. I mean, there is reporting and things that need to be done at the end of it to ensure that we're in compliance. So this really maintains accountability throughout the life cycle. And this is a quick snippet of what the cover sheet looks like. So it really covers everything, right? What department, from the name of the grant to the amount that we're requesting to the match. What is the match, and so on and so on. So you can take a look here. It's a snippet of what this looks like. Again, this is a snippet in time. This is going to be continually updated in real time. So really excited about this. So this is just one of the tools. So another tool that we have is a dashboard that really takes that information and even bring it to the next level. So it creates a centralized graphical presentation of all that information, right? And it provides a nice chart that shows grants submitted versus grants awarded, right? I know that's very important. It shows what stage the grant's at, and it color codes it. What's the grant type? Is it from private, foundational, federal? Is it a local source? We need to know what the status of the grant is moving forward. Have we received it? Has it been denied? Has the grant been closed out? So this tool shows you all of that. And then finally, I think most importantly, particularly for Brenda, is the success rate for the grant, right? So have we reached the goal that we want to get here? And again, this is just a snippet in time of, what the tool looks like. I know you see on the snippet the 2.1. We know we got that big $1.9 million grant. We're still working to fight for that. So we'll keep you updated on that, and hopefully we'll have a positive outcome for that. So that is the grants management dashboard. And I do want to mention one more. So within that tab, there's also a sheet that keeps track of our expenses. So we know now what the active grants are. So we put that in another spreadsheet. Surprise, surprise, a new spreadsheet, but it's all together in SharePoint, so it's pretty easily accessible. So that shows our expenses to date versus our budgeted. Those are also graphically displayed, but it also shows our percent to fulfillment, right? Just to get a sense of how much more we have left to spend in the fiscal year. And I think, as Brenda pointed out in her financial spreadsheet way back at the beginning, is that we want to make sure we know where we're spending in terms of the fiscal year, right? Halfway through, you want to be at 50%. We're almost done with the fiscal year. We're at about 75% spent. So that sheet will also show that. And I just want to mention too that Brenda and I meet pretty much on a weekly basis to go over that cover sheet. So any new grants that are popping up, we're automatically tagged on and made aware. Mary's made aware. So it's a real collaboration on our part. And then from there, it goes into QuickBooks, right? And it continues to build upon the work that you've seen, and of course for the FY26 budget, and continuing to tweak to 25. So with that being said, thank you all for your time, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Do we have any questions out there?
No, but I have
Yes.
a comment.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Noreen, go
Okay.
ahead.
Paul, excellent job. My previous life doing this, and that's so much more organized.
Mm.
And people need to understand, it's not so much the preparation, getting the grant together, even though that's a lot of work. It's the management of the grant. And that's what you have really, narrowed it down to. How do you manage the grant, and where are we at the grant? And I think that's critical. And that's great information you put together. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would offer, if any council members interested to come in and to see it in working. I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to have access to our SharePoint, but the point is that right, we're being very assertive out there. Transportation, AAA, comprehensive planning, economic development, just our regular operational organization. In order to do that, we could not do it without Brenda first, as well as with Paul, and the two of them working together. There are days I will walk by while they're in the small conference room, and I know, just keep walking, do not disturb them. It's like a symphony it's like a symphony when I see them, and it's important for us to sustain ourselves. So thank you, Paul. And I'll also have Megan put your phone number in there. Just you can contact any council member, can contact any staff member at any time. So thank you, Paul, very much for that. And so now I'm going to be introducing the transportation team who's going to be presenting about Bike Month. And right now I'd like to introduce Kyle Mowat. Kyle, I know you're going to be able to introduce yourself and your title and go right into the presentation. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Hi, everyone. So I'm Kyle Mowat. I'm a senior transportation planner here at OCPC. And so the month of May is Bay State Bike Month. So OCPC, we've put together a few events over the course of the month. So our first event is kicking off on May 3rd, which is this Saturday at Borderland State Park, Pedal Through Time, exploring history and nature. So this will be about a 5-mile ride, mountain bike ride, so on trails. And this is in partnership with DCR, the New England Mountain Bike Association, and Smith Farm, which is located in Borderland State Park. So this will be a ride throughout the park. Borderland State Park staff will take bicyclists on a guided tour, stopping at various locations to discuss the history and significance of the different locations. So if you would like to attend, this is registration is required. So you can scan the QR code and in your packet, and we'll hope to see everybody there. And I'll hand this off to Matt to talk about the next event.
Thanks, Kyle. Hi, Madam Chair and members of the council. My name is Matt Dyer. I'm one of the transportation planners on staff. I'm thrilled to share with you our event with Untold Brewery in Plymouth, Bikes and Brews. We'll be partnering up with 3 local businesses, one of them being On Toll Brewery. They'll be hosting the event at their tap room in Cordage, and their bike club will be hosting the 3 rides. One is a 3-mile ride along the Seaside Trail. The next is a medium distance trail ride, which is 13.5, and that will be throughout the town of Plymouth. And lastly, a pro ride of 24.5 miles that will cut through parts of Plymouth as well as Miles Standish State Park. We do have Sirius Cycles, which is a nice local bike shop located on 3A. They'll be offering free rider support to anyone that may need it. If you need to adjust your brakes or get some air in your tires, they're happy to help you out at no charge to you. And lastly, to replenish yourself, we have Hefe's Beta Bar, and their food truck will be on site, offering up some great tacos and amazing churros. This is another event that will require registration if you want to participate in a ride. But if you want to come down and support the team and just hang out, you're more than welcome to come by, enjoy a pint of special session brew. They're making a beer just for this event, special for OCPC and Bike Month, and enjoy some tacos, hang out. They'll have live music starting at 4 p.m. And lastly, just if you haven't seen it already, there's a nice little article, a nice little write-up about the event in the Plymouth Independent, talking about this event as what other happenings in the month. And I'll hand it off to Sean to discuss biking with Bat. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, members of the council. I'm Sean Bailey, one of the senior transportation planners here at OCPC. Here to talk about our annual Bike with Bat event. OCPC has developed and coordinated with BAT on this event since 2014, only missing 2 years, 2020 and 2021, obviously due to the pandemic. We will be out on the Commercial Street side of the BAT Center facing the police station and the commuter rail station. There will be light refreshments provided from Lady C and J Cafe, which, if anyone doesn't know, is a small cafe inside the BAT Center. And this year, we're going to actually have a special guest, a Mr. Sebastian St. Hubert. He is a Brockton resident and avid cyclist. And on May 25th, he is going to be undertaking quite an amazing and impressive bike ride. He is going to be biking from the Boston Commons all the way to Times Square, and is attempting to do it in Guinness World Record time in under 10 hours. He is going to be starting at midnight and riding through all the way until he reaches Times Square. He will be having a safety and camera crew assisting him on the ride, providing safety as well as documentation of his ride. And a couple of special shout outs. Last year at the event, the Brockton delegate, Leonardo Spinola, attended the event. He rode his bike to the event and joined us for the event. And 2 years ago, Easton Planning and Economic Development Director Stephanie Danielson rode her bike to this event. So come one, come all. We'll be there from 6 to 9 in the morning. Hope to see some of you there. Thank you. And I will hand it back to Mary.
Thank you to Sean, Kyle, and Matt. A lot of work has been put into this. They've elevated this to be much more region-wide, not just Brockton-centric, and diversified in terms of partnering with local establishments. So great job to the transportation team and, of course, their leader, Charlie. So the important piece is, if you see this, help share on social media, get the word out. And if you have any suggestions about getting word out, just let us know and we'll certainly get information. So thank you to the council members for sharing that and to the staff. And then next, I'm just going to do very quickly, because I know we're running a little bit short on time. I wanted just to do a quick overview of where we are in our IT assessment. We shared this at the finance meeting last night. When we first hired Right Technology, I think it was like 4 years ago, we had so many reds. We were in deep doo-doo in lots of different ways. And that's an IT, that's not an official IT term, by the way. But if you can see it and just scrolling down, we're all this green, we are in great shape. At the budget and the improvements that we've made, we talked about it again at finance, that we are investing in security. It's so important, in the cybersecurity. And again, this just give another a review that Right Technology did for us. They're always responsive to us. I'm telling you all the time. Just and all the different things they do for us, really the management of our emails to make sure we're not getting anything that's spoofy, and training of staff so then we recognize what could be spam or what could be a virus. So that's just a quick overview. If you'd like more information, please reach out to me. But although we miss them as a tenant, they are very responsive and we'll continue working with them. So the one thing, just as an aside, we'll be formulating a contract with them. We had been more of a services provided, but we'll be entering into a contract for like a 3-year term just to solidify that work. So thank you, Megan, for bringing this up. And I believe, Madam President, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to go right into the legislative report. The retirement legislation that we've all talked about. Thank you, Megan, for putting this slide together. I testified before the Public Service Committee. Senator Brady from our region is the Senate chair, and the Representative Ryan is the House chair. So they took testimony both for me in person, but as well as in writing. There is the dual where the treasurer has a dual rule legislation. The treasurer did not show up, nor did they have any they did not testify. So we are at this point, we think we're in good stead. We'll continue. There's some new discussions, and we'll always keep this apprised until we finally see that legislation passed. So that's the update about the retirement legislation.
Okay, thank you. Wait.
Go ahead, Megan. I think, Madam President, I think what we wanted just to really do is to go over the schedule, but to have the council take action on suspending July and August, and our annual meeting will be in June.
Okay, so right now we have May, we're going to meet on the 27th and 28th. June will be the in-person as much as possible. Monthly council meeting will be our annual meeting. And then we're asking that we have a motion to suspend meetings for July and August with the ability of the president to call a meeting if needed. Can I
Make that
have
motion.
such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Thank you.
second it.
Thank you, Sandy. Roll call.
Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
East Bridgewater,
Accept.
Easton.
Accept.
I know Rhonda left, so I won't call him. Hanson.
Accept.
Thank you. Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Accept.
Plymouth,
Accept.
Whitman, and at large.
Accept.
I know we're running late, guys. It's 7:03, but we did have something come up in the past week that we wanted Mary to talk about briefly, which is this Plymouth County and the County Donegal Sister County Transatlantic Climate Alliance Conference that we've been asked to work with Plymouth County on. Mary, if you could quickly give people an update on this.
Former Senator Mark Pacheco is engaged with the Transatlantic Alliance, and then County Commissioner Greg Hanley is involved with the Donegal Sister Alliance. I'm going to call it that. So it's about some of its climate change, resiliency, many of the things that we're working on with staff, whether it's flooding and the like. So there is this conference. What they've asked is for some assistance in somewhat of it is coordination with their conference. Megan, within no lie, 4 minutes, created everything that they needed. And it's no dollars. There are no dollars that are being involved with OCPC. It is some time, but as I said, 4 minutes of Megan's, well, more like a half hour of Megan's time, and then probably about an hour's of my time and meeting and having discussions. But the meeting is happening. There are there's a couple of various activities. All I said, if we're going to be involved, I would like to make sure that Old Colony Planning Council has their logo on the flyer, as you can see that it is. Thank you, Megan. She put a a link in the chat for more about that. We're participating, and I believe that they were looking to see if Old Colony Planning Council would like to join Bristol. And I forget which other, I think it's, and I know Sandra is on this, but to see if the Plymouth County to be a founding member. Again, no dollars, but there are things that we're working on, like the tech hub work and applying for funding. So I know that Mark Pacheco met yesterday with Lieutenant Governor, and I believe that the Lieutenant Governor is a person who's going to be speaking at the conference. So Megan, did I get that right? I'm sorry. I know that Greg was going to give us the verbiage that he was looking for, but just a vote to support and be part of the founding members of the Climate Alliance.
Yeah, and it's going to include like Norfolk as well. Like, so basically all of the South Shore counties is what they are having conversations still with them.
Thank you, Megan.
So if people are comfortable, could we have a motion to participate as founding partners in the Transatlantic Climate Alliance as described by Mary?
Becky, I just have a couple of concerns that I just wanted to put out there. I know, Greg has brought this before Plymouth County. He's going with this with Plymouth County logo only. Again, on many occasions, I've asked Commissioner Hanley to give me a plan and a financial report or something that it may entail or cost us. I know I greatly appreciate his passion in this program that he's been working very hard on. My questions to him has been in the past that, there's no plan so far. And also dealing internationally with Ireland, I don't know legally how we can do that without some kind of attorney or somebody getting involved with any future programs that they might be bringing. I'd like to work more with them and get a plan and a financial report of, what these programs coming here internationally. I have no idea, on this, and this is something I'm sure I would have to have legal advice about. So
what is your concern legally? Because frequently, you have like these sister county and sister city things that aren't, they're not, it's not any sort of formal framework. I guess I'm wondering what the concern is. Obviously, without presenting a financial report, he doesn't have the right to spend any money of ours or of the county, right?
Right. Well, I know, he's been talking about Donegal, who can bring in different things about agricultural things or programs. Again, I don't know what his plan or desire to and how much that he's going to be getting into it. If it's just a presentation and that's it, then that's fine. But anything further than that, I think that we need to get better idea of, what the it's going to involve as far as the legalities internationally.
So would you feel more comfortable if this was just a motion to support the participation in this one-day conference as opposed to the alliance itself without having more information about the alliance?
Well, even, the conference that he's putting on, what is the budget? I don't know as far as that goes. I don't think anything has been presented. And again, I'm not trying to, down talk it. I just have a lot of questions and concerns about doing anything internationally. There's got to be some type of law or assistance that we're going to need. Right. I would feel more comfortable if this is what the committee would like, is just, being involved and just having our name out there. but not getting involved in any other way. Even,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
I didn't realize that there was a discussion going on among the commissioners. I assumed that the commissioners had signed off on it. So this is new information. Makes
we
me
signed,
definitely more
we
interested
signed
in
off
seeing
only to
conference
let
only.
him have, you know, use the Plymouth County logo. We're not financially putting any monies in. We don't have the monies in our budget for that. So
Madam President, if I could weigh in on this, just know that literally it was months that Greg was and former Senator Pacheco were contacting me. I was very my biggest priority has been the staff and what we have in front of us. And it was some time that we took, and I had Megan join me. I'm very protective of staff time, in particularly Megan, and we are watching very closely. I think there's a couple items that Sandra brought up that are important. The budget, I don't know what the budget is. We're not getting paid for anything, and I don't know if anybody else is, but it's a good question, and I can certainly feel very comfortable in asking. I will say that, and ask Megan, because it was even today, I was like, what are we working on? And but it's extremely limited, you know, monitoring that on the issue of the international. Again, I think it's a very legitimate question, and we don't have the time or the money to spend on an attorney to investigate the international, but it is being held at Bridgewater State. They are a great partner of us. We get many of our employees from Bridgewater State and our interns. And I would recommend that we move forward with the conference with great rails, if you will, that we do not spend a whole lot of time and certainly no money. And I do believe what I've asked for is for OCPC staff, where it's appropriate, that they sit on this panel to talk about the things we're doing, right? That's what we really want to get to, because we're doing a lot in this arena. And when funding becomes available, we certainly want to be at the tail end, because I want to get more money on Paul Umano's spreadsheet.
And Becky, that was one of the things in the very beginning, is we told him that, you know, we could not stretch Frank out anything at all. He, you know, he has absolutely no time to put any effort into this. So if he wanted to go out on his own, then that would be perfectly fine.
Okay, so I
Lee,
think,
Lee Hartman, if I could jump in.
oh yeah, Lee, if you know something, go ahead.
Well, I'd just say we have two sister city relationships, one with Plymouth, England, and one with Shishigahama in Japan. In addition, we just did a World Planning Day between Plymouth, England, and Plymouth, Massachusetts, where we talked about housing issues in the two towns. It creates a lot of goodwill. They're very positive things. I understand the concerns about financial implications, but we do this all the time in Plymouth. And again, I think if Mary's comfortable, I support this.
And I think as long as we keep it limited to this conference, and then we sort of see where we go from there. If Bridgewater is a partner, maybe they're contributing some of the resources here, but we're not contributing any resources. And I feel like we've made the overtures to you guys, Sandy, to say that OCPC wants to do more with the county in terms of cooperation. So I would hate to back away from this without a really good reason.
Yeah, and that's not my intent in any way at all.
But you know what I mean, that we've asked for this kind of cooperation. So that's why I'm saying if we could just participate in the conference, but no money from you guys, no money from us. I don't know how far it's going to go.
Right.
Alex Haggerty, Abington alternate. Just to add to the discussion, I think it would be important for OCPC, for us as the council, to hear from Commissioner Hanley as to this proposal, explain it to us more in depth.
Right. I mean, the issue is it's May 22nd and we won't have another meeting before then. And I know that he did come and meet directly with Mary to be able to explain it. So I don't know how much more we'll get before we're in a position where we have to make a decision.
If it pleases the council members, I will send an email out for those that would like to have conversations. I will share his contact information. And if you'd like to have individualized conversation, to Becky's point, the reason why this was brought up under the president's purview is because of the timing. Literally, we met, geez, Megan, when did we meet?
Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
I think it was Monday,
Again,
maybe.
in all fairness, he did,
Or
both
Tuesday.
Greg and Mark had been trying to reach out to me. I've been asking for some information, but again, we're to the point that Lee had made that this is a goodwill, but I will promise you the funds and time, because time has value. I'm very protective of that and of our staff.
So what is the pleasure of the council?
Lee Hartman, I'll make the motion that we support the request that's put before us. Mary, can you just reword it or word it again?
I think what I was going to reword it, saying that to allow Old Colony Planning Council to be a partner in the Bridgewater State University conference.
I'll
That's-
second that motion.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Okay, so with that more limited motion, can we have a roll call?
Yes, Abington,
Accept.
Avon, thank you, John. Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
East Bridgewater,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston,
Accept.
Pembroke,
Accept.
Plymouth,
Yeah, accept.
Whitman,
Accept.
and at large.
Except,
Thank you all
Okay.
very much.
Thank you. The only other thing is to let people know that we will have a personnel committee meeting on Tuesday, May 13th at 11:30. Please let Mary know if you would like to participate in the personnel committee meeting. If you would like to join the personnel committee. We have upcoming meetings, then will be Tuesday, May 27th at 5:45 for Finance Audit Committee, and Wednesday, May 28th at 6 o'clock for the monthly council meeting. And with that, I appreciate all of the information we've gotten tonight and all of the time that the delegates have given, and I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Thanks,
Okay.
Christine. Thanks, Val. And with that, we can all wave goodbye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
Have a
Hope
good
you
night.
feel better, Becky.
Thank
Yes.
you. Good night.
Bye-bye.